Everyone, this is Ronica Brown, tax advisor and CPA. We've been talking about travel expenses and how to get a lot of your personal travel into the business travel category. What are the requirements that you need to make? What are the days requirements that you have to meet in order to get those deductible? I also went over what are the rules that you have to meet to get those transportation costs deductible and to get your daily travel costs deductible. And this is what cover your lodging, your meals, and things like that on a daily basis. So if you want to get more information on that, go ahead and check out those two videos. For this one, I want to go ahead and address 4 questions in particular. I get these questions a lot, so I just wanted to go ahead and post a video on these questions to make sure that you're also can, because I know that others may also have these questions as well. As I mentioned before, that the travel rules can get very murky, very complicated. So, once you understand the requirements that you need to make, then you can, be able to plan your trips a bit better so that you can get some of those personal days into the travel category so that you can basically write off more on your tax return. So the first question that I have is basically, why are travel meals separated from other travel expenses? And, you probably noticed that your bookkeeper or accountant separate your travel meals. And the reason for this is meals are always treated differently, regardless if they're consumed during travel, if they're consumed on a day-to-day basis, when they're consumed with your team or something like that. There are different rules that govern meals. So that's why it's best to keep them separated as a separate meals category. Previously, you could get 50% of these meals deductible. So even if your trip qualifies for 100% business day, you did not spend a minute doing anything personal, your meals would still not be fully deductible. And that's why you probably noticed that it's reported separately. You can't lump it in the same category. At least if you're working with a really good CPA, they would not lump it in the same category as your other travel expenses. And your bookkeeper may have pointed that out. So probably that's the reason for this question. In 2021, and I think in 2022 as well, due to the COVID and the restaurant revitalization effort, that any money that you spend at a restaurant for business will be 100% deductible. So this would cover those travel meals as well. So I would still say to keep them separate, even though this time they will be 100% deductible, but we never know when they're going to change the rules back again and to say, no, they're not fully deductible. So we have to keep them separately in the bookkeeping to make it easier when tax time comes, that they can identify those expenses that are those travel costs that are not fully deductible, which are your meals and the others if you don't meet the requirement. The next question is, do I need receipts? And this is a tricky one because there's like a $75 rule for your daily expenses. If it's not below 75, if it's below $75, then not really. If it's above $75, then you want to go ahead and keep a receipt. Thankfully, it's a lot easier to keep receipt these days, since most people will offer you to email it to you. So if you're going to a hotel, I'm pretty sure that it's going to be more than $75, and just ask them to go ahead and email your receipt to you so that your assistant or someone like that can help you to get those documentation organized. So yes, you do have to keep your receipt. And the follow-up question to that is always, well, I charge everything on my business credit card, so I don't need a receipt. And that's completely wrong. You still do need the receipt emailed to you, even if you're doing these expenses on your business credit card. Just because the credit card just show that you bought something, you paid for something, it doesn't really give any detail of what you paid for. So even if you're charging everything on your bid card, you want to go ahead and ensure that you have the receipt, the calendar appointments, and things like that, so that you can validate that there was some business done in order to get the strip fully deductible. So a little pre-planning ahead will basically help you to maximize these deductions and keep these deductions. The last question I have is, what if I travel to different countries and bring my work? Will these costs be business deductible? I'm thinking this means, and you can comment below and let me know if this is what you're thinking, but I'm thinking that this basically means that you're working remotely, you're working virtually, and you basically just go to a different country to work. You go to Jamaica, you go to Europe, you go to Africa, you go to Asia, to Japan or something like that to work, because you just like being in different locations. I like to do that sometimes as well, that you're in a different scene and something like that. Normally those costs are not really business travel, just because you're not going there for some kind of business arrangement. You're just going there to work. You just like to travel. You just like to be a nomad or what have you. You just want to go there to work, spend a month or so. So you would not meet the rules to get those personal days deductible, since in most cases you're going to be spending more than 7 days at these international locations, or more than 10 days. If you want to separate these trips, you can separate them into those 7 days and 10-day buckets, and make sure that you have some kind of prearranged business meeting or something like that for the 7 day to make that transportation cost deductible, and get some business done in order to get some of those days deductible. But you won't be able to get the entire trip deductible, since those type of trips are normally more longer term and they don't fall within these routes. Not routes, they don't fall within these rules. As my mentor always say, change your facts and you can change your tax. And what that means is, once you understand the rules, then you're able to change what you're doing in order to fit into the facts, fit into the rules, and then things becomes deductible. Hopefully these answering these questions helps, but these are some of the questions that I normally get when it comes to travel expenses. And you can go ahead and check out my other 2 videos on how to get the transportation costs on your daily lodging, meals, and so forth deductible. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching.